Alright. I guess y'all been waiting long enough. Ain't no need to wait no longer. Having a good time. Yeah. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, oh yeah, coming with another wonderful episode of On Screen. I'm your host. This is NERDSoul Light. And the Mandalorian is back. Woo! The Mandalorian's back. It's good to have him back. How do y'all feel? Before we even get started, you know what I'm saying? This is the show. She gonna bring you back. She gonna bring you back. I know. No. She. You Look, don't NERDSoul Light. He got some things he gonna do. He gonna get together, but he be alright. So peep this. We got an event going on tomorrow. Halloween 2020 rent party. You best believe it. It's going down. Black comics, cosplay, gaming, all kinds of dope panels, awesome people. Man, look, man, you can't beat it, and it's free. And guess what? You ain't gonna catch no COVID checking it out. That's right. It ain't your Halloween party where you gotta go and have people breathing up in your face. It ain't no house where you going to get that COVID candy. Nah. Stay at your home. Buy your candy at the store. Bring it, transport it to your home. Look at the television, laptop, phone, whatever, and hang out with us as we talk about everything in the industry, from art to writing to movies to music to what's going on in the industry between us, other folks. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. We did it before in May. We're doing it again tomorrow. We're having 2 services, 11 a.m., 7 p.m., PST. It's going to be great. So you've had a chance. Gina James in the house, what up? You've had a chance to let me know what you're thinking about the new Mandalorian episode. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I'm here because this is an episode that I enjoyed. I started out about not to enjoy it, and I'll get into it for a second. But I had a good time watching this episode. I am glad this show is back. Both of my stars are doing well. Star Trek is doing well, and it seems that Star Wars is doing well as well. Why? Because we good and we back up in the ish. So, I'll go in and start off. One of the things that blew me away about this episode, before we even get going, is the music. I love the way they're handling the score in this show. I do, man. I do. It works. Whoever they got running the score, I can't remember if it's the same, if it's Ludwig, the dude from last year, but if it is, keep doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to keep paying him because he's doing his thing. Like, the music on this episode, it brought me right back in. It just captured me. And right behind the music is the actual cinematography, like how they shot this piece. It looked, the Dune Sea looked so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It looked like so awesome and majestic, even though we know it's dangerous out there, but man, it was beautiful to see how they shot that desert. And the music just came with it. Awesome. Like straight awesome. I cannot praise this episode for the music and the actual direction / cinematography as well enough. I really can't. Shout out to Gina James, says, all the non-Boba clones have accelerated lifespans. By this point in the timeline, every other clone is like 100. He didn't look nearly old enough to be anyone else but Boba. Also, Filoni is definitely aware of this fact and wouldn't let him be another clone lest he derail continuity. Plus, he's watching Mando drive away with his armor. So yeah, definitely Boba. I don't know. I'm still on the fence with that one. I mean, are we sure? Are we sure? Siggity sure? Oh man, it we don't know. You know what I'm saying? I guess we'll probably never know. I guess it was put in there, so we'll never know. But we'll get back to that in a second, because that's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. What do you think? You say yes? You don't know neither, because I don't know. But I wanted to talk about the opening of the episode, because the opening of the episode is what kind of turned me off a little bit. Sans a couple things. Since we had already seen this in the trailer, and we had kind of experienced this moment, I was just like, oh yeah, ho-hum, kind of going through the motions. And, we had the fight scene, and the fight scene didn't really come through as visceral as it did in the trailer. And maybe it's because the trailer was my first time seeing it, but it just seemed kind of like paint by the numbers fight scene for television. But one thing that I loved is continually building out this landscape of what the galaxy is. Like, you saw homie was rolling in the wrong part of town in that joint. All them eyes lit up like, what he got? It looked like a whole bunch of wolves in the corner like, yeah. Oh, you got that chain, homie, nice shoes, kid. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. And I also like how John Leguizamo dropped a voice credit up in that joint, and I didn't even know. I was like, yo, who is this? I said, this voice is mad familiar, but I can't place it. So the opening sequence, I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not that I don't like it, but it's not hitting me. It's not throwing me away. And then when he said that the Mandalorian he needed to find was in Tatooine, I was like, God, why we always can we do something bigger, better, newer? Can we go somewhere else? I don't want to go back to Tatooine. I'm so tired. Tatooine is not the only planet out here. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. So with that said, I quickly retracted my statement once we got to Tatooine and we saw the little droids again, and we saw old girl like kind of gushing over Baby Yoda, I was like, you know what? It's not so bad being here. It's not so bad. Being back here, I guess I can deal with it. You hear they trying to come for me? You say something bad about Tatooine out here, they come and get you. And shout out to Cassandra Sellers. Nice to see you. Peace and blessings to you too. So the opening sequence didn't hit me like I wanted it to. And going back to Tatooine, I was like, But when we get there, I'm kind of immediately connected to the relationships that we've already built with the young lady. I can't remember. She's the mechanic. And the way she feels about Baby Yoda, I was like, oh, okay, cool. You're kind of getting me into it. And then what really got me excited about this is that even though we went back to Tatooine, which I do not like, I want to go somewhere new, they showed us something new about Tatooine. Usually when we're in Tatooine, it's like Mos Eisley, Cantina, blah, 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 blah. But we went to Mos Pelgo, and we learned so much about the Tusken Raiders. We learned a lot about the Tusken Raiders in the first season, but now we learned even more. We learned about the Crate Dragon. We learned about how these people reacted and lived through the second Death Star's destruction. So I like how they used something that was old to open our eyes to another side of Tatooine. And they did that all while telling this very, very, tried and true Western story. And honestly, I turned the more I learned. And I know that rhymes, so we're going to let that stick. But really, at first, I was like, I don't want to be here. And the more I learned, I was like, you know what? That's interesting. I never looked at the Tuskens like that. And blah, 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 blah. And that next thing you know, I'm stuck in. And of course, while I'm learning all these new things, the music is dope. The shots are dope. And everything's coming together. And I was like, this is, you know what? I'm not mad at this. Now I'm happy. And seeing the kind of take from Tusken Raiders to the villagers and how they had to work together. And this is very Westerny. It's very Westerny, but the way they worked it out with the effects, you add that in, this episode was just entertaining, man. It really was. Sans the first scene, entertained throughout. And one of the things that I thought were really dope is how they handled the kind of like the bar scene, which we'll get to in a second. But Gina James says, in one of the comics, Boba escapes the pit and later kills one of these dragons. He then uses that pearl to make his own special lightsaber. Dope. All right, cool. Because the only comic that I've really followed is probably Darth Vader to a certain degree. And Darth Vader is awesome. Cassandra Southern says, I will be watching this later. I was watching Spell 2020, Omari Hardwick and Loretta Devine. Oh, what? Loretta Scott King Devine? That's my girl right there. Nah. Let's see. Yes, Jenna, I was about to get on that. So the cool thing is we see a lot more through not only telling, but also by showing from the director's perspective. So we get this shot of, you know, the Marshal coming in, and the guy at the bar, he's like, yo, man, I don't know no Mandalorians. We just got a bar. And he's like, yo, he got a mask like me? He's like, yeah, it's that dude. So comes in, he finds he's not a Mandalorian, and immediately he says, take it off. You know what I'm saying? Immediately he's like, take it off. You know what I'm saying? You're not, and I honestly, I ain't going front. I like that energy. I do. You out here perpetrating a fraud, take it off. It's not yours. It's not for yours to play with. Are you gonna give me the mask? It's not for you to play with. It's not for you to joke around with. You know what I'm saying? This is our stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we take it seriously. And I love that. I love that about that energy, because there's certain things that go on even now in our society where I would be totally for people being like, take it off now. And I'm not playing with you this second, or we gonna have a problem. I love that. That scene it made me think about different things. And I'm sure if you're watching, you can think in your mind certain things that you wish that you could just tell somebody immediately, like, take it off. Stop doing that immediately. That's ours. And no. And yo, man, look, you got to give it to him. He kept it real. And homie said, well, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend, which is cool, because there are times when people ain't trying to be funny. They just don't know. So homie's like, look, this is the only way I can protect my people. But how about this? We got this crazy worm. Help me kill the worm. I'll give you the suit. You know what I'm saying? And we get this story about how he maintained the suit, and or how he obtained the suit. And that's how we get this whole backstory into what Tatooine, or at least Mos Pelgo, was like when the second Death Star fell. And I like that. I like how immediately people was like, power vacuum. Oh man, immediately people was like, Empire gone? What's up? And unfortunately, there's always going to be those snake and wolf type cats that's out there that's like, they waiting for that opportunity. And it was like, oh, word? So you mean to tell me that there ain't nobody out here to tell us what we can and can't do no more? Oh, we gonna love this. And they just went in there and straight murdered everybody in the club. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. But it unfortunately doesn't surprise me, because, it's a wretched hive of scum and villainy, and they weren't just, we had to understand, or at least go with the idea that they weren't just specific to Mos Eisley. You know what I'm saying? There was all over all the other Moses. You know what I'm saying? But to what Jenna James said, we saw a pod racer, which I was like, oh snap! Like, you got your boy Mandalorian. He gets on the speeder bike, getting his buzz on, just chilling, getting like, zoom. And then all of a sudden, old boy rider, I was like, oh snap, homie got a pod racer. Like, yo, I ain't going front, man. Shouts out to everybody who had the Dreamcast pod racer video game back in the day. That joint was straight hotness. I don't know if it's aged well, but I loved it back in the day. And that game was bananas. And even though I thought the scene was long in the prequels, I do love the pod racing scene. I just thought it was too long. So yeah, that pod racer that he brought out, I was like, oh snap! So you just gonna bust a pod racer out on a brother like that? Which is cool for looks, it's cool for nostalgia, but it's also cool for telling the story that these things are not gone. These things still exist in some sort of way throughout the history of this planet. And then also learning of like the Tusken Raiders and where he was talking about like, yes, the Tusken Raiders are tough people, they're hard people or whatever, but the Dune Sea is hard. And they've lived there and survived there over the thousands of years. And pair that with the information that we have, of course, from the first season, they had to survive there because the Tuskens are at least believed to be the Aboriginal people of this planet until colonizers came and probably pushed them out to the Dune Sea to where they had to, of course, learn to survive in the Dune Sea with the crate dragon and things of that nature. So when they say things like you were stealing our water, it makes sense because they're like, yo, from our perspective for Aboriginal history, this is our planet. We were here and you came here and just immediately started killing us off and blah, blah, blah. This is ours. And whenever we see you on site, you know what I'm saying? On site. But shout out to Jenna James says, happens in a lot of D9 frats. In fact, a lot of people out here perpetrating as if they earned those letters when they have clearly not. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, I'm just saying, can't be perpetrating fraud around everybody because some people might pull that card, boy. You don't want to be somewhere trying to be funny and get embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, that dude was by himself. But, you know, and also I think it being a one-on-one, I mean, the bartender was there, but he won't really in the convo. Being a one-on-one also allowed them to have a genuine conversation. And of course, we talk about, you know, sci-fi and all that stuff to have real conversations as well, because I do think if there was a crowd there, like in real life, I think a lot of times in real life, while we can't have real conversations and come to understanding, is because there's an audience. So now you have to play and act and, you know, you have to perform instead of a one-on-one situation where you can be like, you know what, man, I ain't even know. Yo, look, they was out here killing us and I found some cool armor and that's the best thing I could do. And then he'd be like, you know what? All right, cool. I see what you're saying. All right, look, I still want it, but let's do this a different way and it doesn't have to be confrontational. Boom. I don't think you have that same conversation if there's like 10, 20 people there, because then it's got to be the performance. It's got to be the bravado. You got to stick your chest out and all that instead of just being real with one another. So I love that moment that they were able to come together, and I'll talk about them in a second. But like that showed a lot of what Tatooine had been through, and I really liked it from the Aboriginal perspective with the Tusken Raiders, and also with the villagers and what had fell upon them. You know what I'm saying? And shouts to Jenny James says, I really hope Cobb Vanth is in a one-off or Boba kills him. I love the guy, and I expected a Boba wannabe, but he was a downright Western cowboy. Hopefully Boba talks to him in a sort of respectful way, and he returns later on. It was weird because homie had on regular clothes with the check. I was like, what? This is a laundry day for Mandalorians? But it was cool. It was cool the way it came off. Shouts out to Zia said, I'm indifferent as to whether or not he comes back. I really like how the show doesn't really focus on one character. Yes, there's the whole Mando and the child storyline, but I feel like that plot is just a vehicle in the world building that the show serves. Also, like Mando is an old man telling the stories of all the people he's met throughout his life. So while I really like him and would like more, it could take away from another just as an interesting character. I feel like 3 appearances is kind of the max, or maybe his own show where him and Mando never meet again. But again, I'm indifferent. Would be cool for him and Mando to team up again at the end of this season. Yeah, because that might be, because I mean, they kind of did that last season. So I feel where you're coming with on that one. They kind of handled that on last season where he like met these people through his travels and then kind of came back and was like, yo, all right, cool. Like, you know what? I kind of need y'all and y'all sort of owe me a favor. So let's do this. And we have a common enemy. So let's go. But the teamwork that I like to see in this episode was very Western, but just in the right updated ways. I love the plan that they came out with. The plan that they had was like, yo, all right, look, we're gonna need more people. And he was like, is that to scale? He was like, they ain't to scale. It was like, yo, that's the scale. And just those arguments of understanding and things like that, I thought that was wonderful. And getting the detonation, having that happen, and seeing how that went down and didn't work, and then when you saw the bantha or whatever, you were like, oh snap, we know what's about to happen. That was crazy because talking about the crate dragon alone, that thing is huge. That's one. And then with the puke, like the throw up puke or whatever, the acidy whatever was doing, like, yo, that thing is not to be trifled with. Because at first, remember, he came out there was like pew, 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 throwing rocks and stuff. And he kind of backed up a little bit like, you know what? I don't even feel like messing with y'all today. Y'all getting on my nerves. Look, I can't eat all of y'all right now, so screw it. Good night. And then they kept shooting. He was like, oh, all right, so y'all, so this is what you really want. So I did enjoy that a lot to see it kind of back up and then be like, oh, no, all right, see, now you tripping. Now I got to hurt you. So the way it came out, it was spitting, writhing, went away, came out the mountain, came out behind them. Like that thing, for as large as it is to move like it does, and I mean, of course, it's sci-fi, but wow. It was awesome. And then seeing them go off together, like seeing them like, all right, look, we gotta get McNasty. So they put on the jetpacks, like, psh, I was watching this with the music and the action, the effects, and both of them flying up in their jetpacks. I was a kid again. I enjoyed this episode. Sans the first scene, I'm all in on this one, man. I had a lot of good memories from this, and I'll probably end up watching it again. You want to know why? Because we haven't even talked about Baby Yo yet. But I did want to say, Jenna James said, this is like those old man Logan, Hulk, Star-Lord, Marvel Comics type vibes with Mando kind of don't you think? You know what? Yeah, because I mean, it does have this kind of like Western-y kind of like old man going through his motions vibe. So I will kind of give you that. I do agree. And then you have like the older Hulk stuff. So yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I kind of see where you're coming from on that. And I love, what up, Markeith Collins in the house. Markeith, what up? CS is in here, you can find. And Jenna James up in this joint, you know what I'm saying? I think Sandra Thomas is back. I don't know. And Cassandra Sullivan's up in here. So it's one of these things with Baby Yoda where now they have placed him in this very cute role of like, we know he's cute. We're not going to overplay his role, but whenever you need that like beautiful moment where he's like riding and the wind's going through his ears, he ain't got no hair, so it got to go through his ears. The wind through his ears, he's like, it was just cute. It was cute. Seeing when Mando threw out the fire, he was like standing between his legs. It was it was just super cute. And it's good to get him in these situations where at times he's there to be cute, and at times he's there to be the audience's reaction. Like when it was about to pop off in the bar, you saw him like peek out and everything was shaking with the crate dragon. You see him pop out of the pot or whatever. So there are these moments where there's these moments where it's like he's cute, but then he's also representing us, so it's really fun. It's a lot of fun to watch him. I am not tired of Baby Yoda yet, and I think that they place him and position him in a way where he doesn't it's not overplayed. And that's one thing I like. I like that it's not overplayed. Shouts to Cassandra Suller says, I really like this show. I will watch this episode after your show. And Jenna James says, Frick, we need a Mandalorian game, like a cross between Red Dead, Ghost of Tsushima, and whatever Star Wars games already exist. You know what? That wouldn't be a bad. Who knows how long it would take to make it? I mean, look, they just pushed back Cyberpunk again. We ain't never gonna see that game. You can just give it up. If y'all got whatever pre-order money, just get it back. It's over. But I wouldn't be mad at a Mandalorian game like that. Those aren't usually the games I play. But I'd give it a shot. Like, I ain't gonna front. I'd probably give it a shot. Like, that's for real. Like, Ghost of Tsushima looks incredible. The new Spider-Man looks amazing. Their Star Wars stuff is top notch. So maybe they can do something where, this show goes for like 4 or 5 seasons, and then the 6th season is the game, and then they just wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Who knows? Or maybe after the show is over, they can come out with a game that like, this is the mission that you missed. You know what I'm saying? Like, so who knows? But I wouldn't be mad at that. I know it would look beautiful. Because this show is stunning, yo. I mean, back to the cinematography. They made sand look great. I mean, the Dune Sea looked majestic and beautiful, and like the caravan and the music during the caravan, the music during the fight scene. Man, wow. So, all right, so let's, we kind of covered most of the episode to a certain degree. Guys, be in the chat and comments. We'll talk about any extra stuff. Ain't no need to cover every single minute detail. But you saw your boy at the end? Look like a ninja monk or something like that. He looked like a dangerous monk, because he turned around, had the bald head, had the body on, but then he had like mad ill looking weapons, and he did look like a hater. He didn't even look like a hater. He was literally player hating from the sidelines. He could have went and helped with the crate dragon, but did you see that? No. I'm calling now. He's a hater. That dude is hating. I don't know what he's hating about. Maybe he wants Baby Yoda, whatever it is. But he was playing hating from the sidelines the whole time. Dude, get your own. Why you riding mine? You know what I'm saying? But with that said, guys, enjoyed this episode. If I was to rate this from 1 to 10, I'd probably have it about 8.5. 8.5 or 9, because that first scene kind of brought me down. But I had a ball watching this. This episode is cool. I'm glad it's back. So Star Trek is back. Star Wars is back. It's going to be great. Guys, thank you for rolling through. This is hanging out with y'all. Jenna James, you bring it. You bring it all the time. Shouts to Cassandra Sellers with the straight funniness. But NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Yo, man, hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel a lot. If you like what you're seeing, hit the thumbs down. If you don't, but if you hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send a bald-headed hater after you. And this is going to be a dude. He's just going to be like staring. You know what? He's going to be staring at you like Black Noir from across the street, but he's just going to be bald-headed, wearing like, some old rags or something. You're not going to like it. And then podcast, if you like to listen, get your podcast on too. And don't forget, I got them beats, got that music, Spotify, NERDSoul on there too. Tomorrow, announcement, do not forget, Rent Party is coming tomorrow, Halloween 2020. I am so excited. I'm so happy to be able to show this to you. It is going to be a heck of a time. Man, oh man. We got a lot of dope stuff coming tomorrow. Performances, gaming, cosplay, fashion runways and stuff, panels, We got it all for you. And shouts out to Jason Reeves, Quinn McGowan. These guys, we formed like Voltron, and we made it happen for a second time, man. And, you know, Lord is willing, the creek don't rise, everything will be fine. So, you know what I'm saying? All we need is for the internet to not stop and for the electricity to stay on. But with that said, guys, thank you for coming through. Everyone in the chat, Marquise Collins, Jenna James, Cassandra Sellers, Zeus was in the house. Let's see. Born Eternal came through. What up? And I think that might be it. So if I missed your name, it's not on purpose. Still much love. We here. I'm going to leave y'all with ARC, Katron, Space Bridges Storage, y'all. The joint is dope. So until next time, which will be tomorrow at the Rent Party, 11 a.m. PST. For me to you, I'm just saying, peace. Yeah. Star Wars is back. Star Trek is back. Yo, we all happy. Peace. Yeah.